She's the thief. She took it right out of the box.
No, please, it wasn't me.
One accusation, one lie, and one innocent woman was about to lose everything. In a ballroom filled with billionaires, celebrities, politicians, and flashing cameras, a security guard reached into the billionaire's wife's handbag and pulled out a priceless diamond necklace. The room fell silent. Then chaos erupted. "She's the thief." Her own husband looked into her tear-filled eyes, removed his wedding ring, and chose to believe another woman. Humiliated before the entire world, Sophia Harrison walked away with nothing but her shattered heart. But hidden behind the fake tears of the beautiful mistress was a terrifying secret. The theft had been carefully planned. Every witness had been manipulated. Every piece of evidence had been planted. And before the night was over, a family would be destroyed. Before we go deeper into this story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Richard Harrison was one of the richest businessmen in America. Newspapers called him the king of real estate. His companies were worth billions, and his luxurious mansion was the envy of everyone. Standing beside him was his elegant wife, Sophia Harrison. At 31 years old, Sophia was known for her kindness more than her beauty. She spent her days running orphanages, funding scholarships, and helping struggling families. People admired her, but not everyone. Watching from across the ballroom was Vanessa Brooks, Richard's stunning executive assistant. Vanessa wore a dazzling red evening gown that attracted attention everywhere she walked. Behind her charming smile was a heart consumed by greed. For nearly a year, she had secretly been having an affair with Richard. She didn't love him. She loved his money. And there was only one obstacle standing between her and the billionaire's fortune: Sophia. Vanessa smiled as she quietly whispered to herself, "By midnight, you'll lose everything." Earlier that afternoon, Vanessa had put the final pieces of her plan into motion. She opened a velvet jewelry box containing a rare diamond necklace worth nearly $5 million. Carefully, she hid it inside a silk scarf. Then she called one of the mansion's security guards. "You remember our agreement?" The nervous guard nodded. "You'll receive $50,000 after tonight. And if I refuse?" Vanessa stepped closer. "You'll lose your job, and I'll make sure no company hires you again." The frightened guard lowered his head. "I understand." Vanessa smiled. "Good." The trap was ready. That evening, the anniversary celebration began. A live orchestra filled the ballroom with music while reporters photographed every important guest. Richard raised a champagne glass. "Thank you all for celebrating 10 wonderful years of marriage with Sophia." The guests applauded. Sophia smiled warmly. "I couldn't have asked for a better partner." Vanessa nearly laughed. "Enjoy your happiness while it lasts," she thought. As the celebration continued, Vanessa quietly slipped away toward the ladies' lounge. Moments later, Sophia entered the hallway after receiving a phone call from one of the charity directors she supported. While Sophia spoke on the phone, Vanessa watched from around the corner. "This is my chance." Moving quickly, Vanessa walked to the table where Sophia had placed her designer handbag. She looked around. No one was watching. With practiced hands, she unwrapped the diamond necklace and gently slipped it into the inner pocket of Sophia's purse. Then she closed the handbag exactly as she had found it. Footsteps echoed. Vanessa immediately walked away before Sophia returned. Everything had happened in less than 15 seconds. The trap had been set. Nearly an hour later, the ballroom buzzed with laughter. Guests danced. Business deals were discussed. Photographers captured smiling faces. Suddenly, a horrifying scream shattered the celebration. "My necklace!" Everyone turned toward Vanessa. She stood trembling, tears streaming down her face. "My mother's diamond necklace is gone." The music stopped instantly. Richard hurried toward her. "What happened?" Vanessa struggled to speak. "It was in the dressing room. Now it's gone." Guests began whispering. "A $5 million necklace? Who would steal during an anniversary party?" Vanessa slowly looked across the room. Her finger stopped on Sophia. "I saw her leave the dressing room." The whispers grew louder. Sophia stared in disbelief. "What? You were the last person there." Sophia shook her head. "I never entered your dressing room." Vanessa wiped away fake tears. "Then maybe you won't mind if security checks your purse." The room became silent. Every camera pointed toward Sophia. Richard looked conflicted. "Sophia," she stared at him. "You can't be serious." "I'm only trying to clear your name." Sophia reluctantly handed over her handbag. "If this helps everyone see the truth, go ahead." The security guard slowly searched inside. Guests leaned forward. The silence became unbearable. Then, the guard reached into an inner pocket. His eyes widened. He slowly pulled out a sparkling diamond necklace. The ballroom exploded. Oh my God! I knew it. Mrs. Harrison actually stole it. Camera flashes lit up the room. Sophia's face turned pale. No. She shook her head over and over. That's impossible. Vanessa burst into dramatic sobs. I trusted you, Sophia. Sophia looked desperately at Richard. Someone planted it. Richard stared at the necklace. It was inside your purse. I've never seen that necklace before. The guests began recording videos on their phones. Within minutes, clips of the scandal were spreading across social media. Sophia's breathing became heavier. She felt trapped, humiliated, broken. She reached for Richard's hand. You know me. Instead of taking her hand, Richard slowly removed his wedding ring. A collective gasp echoed throughout the ballroom. I don't know what to believe anymore. Sophia's heart shattered. Tears rolled down her cheeks. You believe her? Richard lowered his eyes. The evidence is right in front of everyone. Sophia looked around the ballroom. Hundreds of faces stared back at her with disgust. People she had helped, people she had trusted. Not one person stood beside her. Vanessa secretly smiled through her fake tears. Everything had gone exactly as planned. Sophia slowly placed her wedding ring on the table. If the man I've loved for 10 years can condemn me without even listening to my voice, she swallowed hard. Then I have already lost far more than a necklace. Without another word, she turned and walked toward the mansion doors. The reporters rushed after her. Flashes blinded her eyes. Questions were shouted from every direction. Did you steal the necklace? Were you living a double life? Have you been arrested? Sophia never answered. She simply walked into the cold night, alone. Behind her, Vanessa watched from the ballroom entrance. A slow smile spread across her face. She had finally removed the only obstacle standing between herself and a billionaire's fortune. But she had no idea. Her greatest mistake had already been captured by someone she never even noticed. Rain poured heavily as Sophia sat alone inside a small apartment on the outskirts of the city. Just 3 days earlier, she had lived in one of the most luxurious mansions in America. Now she had nothing. Every television station replayed the same humiliating footage. Billionaire's wife caught stealing $5 million necklace. Social media exploded with insults. She fooled everyone. Rich people are never satisfied. I always knew she was pretending to be kind. Sophia turned off the television and buried her face in her hands. I know I didn't do it, she whispered through tears. But how can I prove it? Meanwhile, back at the Harrison mansion, Vanessa was already acting like the lady of the house. She gave orders to the staff. She redecorated Sophia's bedroom. She even wore expensive jewelry that had once belonged to Sophia. Every step brought her closer to the life she had always wanted. One evening, Vanessa poured Richard a glass of wine. You've been so quiet, Richard sighed. I keep thinking about Sophia. Vanessa gently held his hand. You did the right thing. A thief doesn't deserve your love. Richard nodded, trying to convince himself. But deep inside, something didn't feel right. For 10 years, Sophia had never lied to him. Why would she suddenly steal a necklace in front of hundreds of guests? The question refused to leave his mind. The next morning, Sophia received an unexpected phone call. Mrs. Harrison? Yes? My name is Daniel. I was one of the waiters at your anniversary party. Sophia's heart raced. I think I may have something that could help you. Within an hour, they met at a quiet coffee shop. Daniel nervously placed his phone on the table. I was recording short videos during the party for my social media page. Sophia leaned forward. And? I didn't notice it at the time, but one of the videos accidentally captured the hallway outside the dressing rooms. Sophia held her breath as Daniel pressed play. The video showed guests walking past the hallway. Then, Vanessa appeared. She looked around to make sure no one was watching. From inside a silk scarf, she pulled out a sparkling diamond necklace. Sophia's eyes widened. No, the video continued. Vanessa quietly approached Sophia's handbag, unzipped it, slipped the necklace inside, and walked away as if nothing had happened. Daniel paused the video. I'm so sorry I didn't see this sooner. Sophia couldn't speak. Her hands trembled. She watched the video again, and again. This proves I'm innocent. Daniel nodded. But you'll need more than this. Vanessa's lawyers could claim the video was edited. Sophia agreed. If I'm going to expose her, I need undeniable evidence. Sophia hired the city's best private investigator, Marcus Reed. After listening carefully to her story, Marcus leaned back in his chair. If Vanessa framed you, she didn't work alone. You think someone helped her? I'm certain of it. Marcus immediately began investigating every employee who had worked that night. Within days, strange financial records began appearing. One security guard had suddenly deposited $50,000 into his bank account. Another employee had received an expensive luxury watch. A cleaner had mysteriously paid off all her debts. Marcus smiled. People who are paid to lie eventually become afraid. One by one, the employees were questioned. Most denied everything. Until Marcus confronted the security guard with the bank records. The man's face turned pale. I didn't want to do it. Marcus remained silent. The guard broke down crying. Vanessa paid me. She told me exactly when to search Mrs. Harrison's purse. She knew where the necklace would be because she put it there herself. Marcus recorded every word. The case was getting stronger, but Sophia wanted one final piece of proof. The mansion has security cameras. Marcus nodded. It does. But Vanessa knew where they were. Marcus smiled confidently. She knew about the obvious cameras. What do you mean? The mansion's architect installed backup cameras years ago inside the service hallway. Hardly anyone knows they exist. Sophia's eyes filled with hope. If those cameras were working, Marcus finished her sentence, then Vanessa has nowhere left to hide. That same evening, Marcus obtained permission to review the forgotten security footage. Hours of recordings played across the monitor. Nothing. Nothing. Then, there she was. Vanessa entered the hallway carrying the necklace. She looked over both shoulders. She carefully placed it inside Sophia's handbag. Then she smiled. A cold, victorious smile. Sophia covered her mouth. Oh my God. Marcus nodded. We have her. Sophia felt tears running down her face, not from sadness this time, but from relief. The truth had finally been found. Meanwhile, Vanessa had become careless. Believing she had won, she secretly met with another man at an expensive restaurant. I'll have Richard transfer his company shares soon, she whispered. The man grinned. And after that, we disappear with everything. Neither of them noticed someone sitting 2 tables away. Richard. He had entered the restaurant for a business dinner. The moment he heard Vanessa mention his company, he quietly canceled his meeting and remained hidden. His heart pounded. Was Vanessa planning something even bigger? For the first time, he began to wonder if he had trusted the wrong person. He left the restaurant without confronting her. That night, he couldn't sleep. Memories of Sophia flooded his mind, her kindness, her honesty, the countless times she had stood by him during difficult years. He remembered the look in her eyes when she whispered, "You know me." A wave of guilt crashed over him. "What have I done?" he whispered into the darkness. At that very moment, his phone rang. It was Marcus Reed. "I have something you need to see." Richard had no idea that the next video would expose the biggest mistake of his life and bring Vanessa's perfect plan crashing down. Richard barely slept that night. Marcus Reed's words echoed in his mind. "I have something you need to see." At sunrise, Richard arrived at Marcus's office. Without saying a word, Marcus inserted a flash drive into his computer. This footage came from one of the mansion's hidden security cameras. The video began to play. Richard watched as Vanessa walked into the hallway carrying the diamond necklace. She looked over both shoulders to make sure no one was watching. Then she calmly unzipped Sophia's handbag, slipped the necklace inside, closed the bag, and walked away with a satisfied smile. Richard's face turned pale. No. Marcus played another recording. It showed Vanessa handing a thick envelope of cash to the security guard who had searched Sophia's purse during the anniversary party. The guard accepted the money and nodded. Richard stumbled backward, struggling to breathe. "I destroyed my wife." Marcus looked at him. "You didn't just believe a lie. You helped spread it." Richard lowered his head in shame. For the first time in his life, the billionaire realized that money couldn't erase what he had done. That afternoon, Richard called his lawyer, his board of directors, every guest who had attended the anniversary party, and dozens of reporters. His message was simple. "I have something important to confess." News spread across the city within hours. People wondered why the billionaire had called another emergency gathering at his mansion. Vanessa wasn't worried. She believed Richard was finally going to announce their relationship publicly. She arrived wearing a dazzling red gown and expensive diamonds, smiling confidently as photographers took pictures. She walked into the ballroom like a queen. Richard stood quietly on the stage. His expression was cold. The room became silent. Thank you all for coming. He looked around the crowd. The last time we stood together in this room, an innocent woman lost everything. Vanessa's smile faded. Richard continued. My wife was accused of stealing a diamond necklace. I believed the evidence. I believed the lies. And I failed the person who loved me the most. The ballroom fell silent. Richard nodded toward the technician. Play the video. The giant screen came to life. Everyone watched as Vanessa secretly placed the necklace inside Sophia's handbag. A shocked gasp swept through the room. Then another video played. Vanessa bribing the security guard. Then another. Vanessa laughing with the guard after Sophia left the mansion in tears. The crowd erupted. She framed her. I can't believe this. What an evil woman. Vanessa's face turned white. No, this isn't real. Richard looked directly at her. Would you like everyone to see the bank records too? Vanessa froze. Richard held up printed documents. $50,000 transferred to a security guard. Luxury gifts given to witnesses. Messages instructing employees to stay silent. One by one, the employees stepped forward. The security guard lowered his head. I'm sorry. I accepted her money. I lied. Another employee spoke. So did I. Soon, every member of the conspiracy confessed. Vanessa realized there was nowhere left to hide. She tried to run. Before she reached the ballroom doors, police officers entered the mansion. Vanessa Brooks, you are under arrest for fraud, conspiracy, bribery, and filing a false criminal accusation. The room erupted into applause. As officers placed handcuffs on Vanessa, she turned toward Richard. You loved me. Richard shook his head. No, I loved the lie you created. Vanessa screamed as she was escorted away. The same cameras that had filmed Sophia's humiliation now captured Vanessa's downfall. By evening, every news channel carried the story. Billionaire's wife proven innocent, Mistress arrested after elaborate frame-up. The public that had once condemned Sophia now demanded her forgiveness. But Sophia wasn't interested in revenge. A week later, Richard asked Sophia to meet him in the mansion's peaceful garden. She arrived dressed simply, calm and confident. Richard stood as she approached. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Finally, Richard broke the silence. I don't deserve your forgiveness. No, Sophia replied softly. You don't. He lowered his eyes. I judged you without listening. I let someone else's lies become stronger than 10 years of trust. I would give away every dollar I own if I could undo that night. Sophia looked at the flowers swaying gently in the breeze. When everyone else doubted me, I only needed one person to believe me. She turned to face him. My husband. You weren't there. Tears filled Richard's eyes. I'm sorry. Sophia nodded. I believe you're sorry. But trust isn't restored with words. She removed her wedding ring from her purse and placed it gently in Richard's hand. I've already forgiven you. Richard looked up with hope. But forgiveness and reconciliation are not the same. I forgive you so I can move forward. But I can't go back to the life we had. Richard's hope faded into quiet acceptance. He closed his hand around the ring. I understand. Sophia smiled sadly. I hope one day you find peace. She turned and walked away. This time she wasn't leaving in shame. She was leaving with dignity. Months passed. Sophia founded a charity that provided legal support and counseling for people who had been falsely accused of crimes. Thousands found hope through her work, and her story inspired countless others to stand up for the truth. Richard devoted much of his fortune to supporting the foundation, not to win Sophia back, but because he finally understood the importance of justice. As for Vanessa, she was convicted for her role in the conspiracy. The wealth she chased had slipped through her fingers, replaced by the consequences of her own choices. People often remembered the scandal for the priceless necklace, but those who knew the whole story remembered something far more valuable. A lie can fool the world for a moment. The truth may take longer to arrive, but when it does, no amount of money, beauty, or deception can stand in its way.